imposed sanctions on the Nord Stream pipelines to prevent Russia generating any revenue in the future in this way. It sends a clear signal we are not going back to business as usual. On the banking sector, we are turning the ban on SWIFT messaging services into full transaction ban. We propose 22 new banks to the list of institutions blocked from these transactions. And on military industry, they would not be able to do what they're doing without the support of others, like it was said. So we are going after the companies who are directly involved in producing weapons or enabling production, including in third countries. Today, we suggest adding 22 new companies, including some from China and Belarus, to the list of entities facing stricter restrictions on the dual-use goods. And this brings the total number of targeted companies to over 800. We do all this because sanctions work. Every sanction weakens Russia's ability to fight. So Russia wants us to believe that they can continue this war forever. This is not simply true. Russia has lost tens of billions in oil revenues, its economy is shrinking, and its GDP has dropped. Sanctioning the shadow fleet has been particularly impactful. After our last sanctions package, the 17th sanctions package, the oil exports from Russia via the Black Sea and Baltic Sea routes declined by 30% in a week. Only in the month of May, Russia's sovereign wealth fund declined by 6 billion from 42 billion to 36 billion US dollars. And it could run out of money by next year. By cutting off revenue streams, we prevent them from refilling their war chest. Every day Russia lies about its desire for peace. Putin is taking the world for a ride. Together with the United States, we can really force Putin to negotiate seriously. Every day Russia continues its war, the price must go up, and that's why we are proposing this 18th package of sanctions. Thank you.
Thank you, HRVP Kallas. We can take a couple of questions. Jorge.
Hello, Jorge Ribeiro with Euronews. I want to ask you about the United States. Both of you mentioned it. We know that you have been in contact with the United States to coordinate this package of sanctions, but so far there has been no indication that the United States will also impose sanctions. The key question now is on the price cap on Russian oil. It was agreed at G7 level. Can you give us a guarantee that the European Union will lower the price cap on Russian oil even if you don't get the participation of the United States, or is this completely dependent on what President Trump chooses to do? Thank you both.
So we have always been very coordinated on in the G7 on the topic of the oil price cap, and I'm very much looking forward to the discussions that we're going to have in Canada in about a week. There, this topic will play a role, because we all know, and the Americans know as well as all of us in G7, that the oil price has lowered so much that the effectiveness of the cap is to be questioned. And therefore, we all want to lower the oil price from $60 per barrel down to $45 per barrel. Very much looking forward to that. My assumption is that we do that together as G7. We have started that as G7. It was successful as a measure from the G7, and I want to continue this measure as G7.
I have nothing to add.
Okay. Mark.
Does it work or not? Yeah, it works. Good afternoon, Mark Peperkorn, Volkskrant, Netherlands. It's two questions. One is a follow-up, because you say, Madam President, you say, I'm looking forward to the discussions in the G7. How confident are you that the cap of $45 per barrel will actually be implemented? And two, maybe for Mrs. Kallas, because you said the revenues of Russia would be hit hard by this $45 barrel cap. Do you know how hard? Do you know what would this cost Russia? Thanks.
So, to the first part of your question, our teams have, of course, been in touch with all the G7s, but also specifically with the United States. And I have also spoken several times to Senator Lindsey Graham, who is the initiator of the American package of sanctions. So we are very much aligned in the aim to urge Russia, by those massive sanctions, to come to the negotiation table and to be serious about negotiations that lead towards a just and lasting peace. That is the common aim. We have different instruments. These are different sanctions packages, but we are very much aligned in the aim. And therefore, I'm very confident that we will achieve this goal. There's one point on the revenues, perhaps, if you allow, Kaja, a figure that struck me in the discussion about energy. I think it was in our college that the energy commissioner presented those figures. At the beginning of the war, Russia had 12 billion euros of energy or of revenues from fossil fuels from Europe per month, 12 billion. And now we're down to 1.8 billion, still too much. So we are phasing out Russian fossil fuels. The proposal is on the table from the Commission. But this shows how much, only if you look only at the European or the revenues from Europe to Russia, how much these different measures have already had an impact on reducing the revenues of Russia.
Yes, and to add to that, it is accumulating as well. I think we were also surprised that the last sanctions package on the shadow fleet had such a big effect that it was really reducing the revenues from oil exports from or via the Black Sea and Baltic Sea by 30%. Because, you know, we have done a lot of sanctions, but that now they are also starting to accumulate, and that's why I can't give you an exact number, but we feel that these sanctions have a huge effect together with the other sanctions that we have already done.
Thank you, President. Thank you, HRVP, and thank you for your participation, and wish you a good afternoon.